Well, Dalyston have been off to a fly to start their 2023 campaign, but there is absolutely no bigger test than today as they come up against Inverloch Kongwak, who have really turned it up to another level and are undefeated to start their year. Can the Maggies take a big scalp and prove they're serious, or are the Sea Eagles that little bit too strong? Welcome back to the West Gippsland Match of the Round stream, brought to you by Fairhaven Homes. I'm your play-by-play commentator today, joined by my co-host, Aidan Box. How's it going, Boxy?
It's good, obviously really good to be here at the Dalyston Recreation Reserve for this top two clash, a massive game so far in this young season. We've got Inverloch Kongwak obviously running that 5-game winning streak, wanting to keep it alive, and Dalyston, well, they lost their opener here, but they've won every game since, and their last meeting, obviously the teams are a lot different for last year, but it was Inverloch winning here by 116 points, thanks to 6 goals from Oscar Descent. But as we get set to go here, just a few ins and outs for you. For Dalyston, Jack LaJohnny and Max Connell make way for Cooper Smith and Hayden McLean. And for Inverloch, Liam O'Neill, Ethan Park and Jordan Batako miss out. And Jamison Samalis makes his return alongside Josh Williams and Lockie Crook. So we're nearly set to go here. It's been pretty wet, but we haven't actually had much rain for a number of hours. Had a lot during the night. And as usual, it'll be Marcus Descent in the ruck for Inverloch Kongwak. There's the siren, we're underway. Tap's probably drawn there, Wilhelms runs after it. Can't pick it up though, and it's Dalyston winning it. I don't think he had possession there. No free kick though. Comes out to the wing. Hard at the contest to start this one. And the Magpies go inside 50 first, but it finds the chest of Lewis Rankin, who got 6 votes from us last week in the win over Warrigal. He was outstanding across half-back. He's got an early one here and he gives it to Wilhelms. Looks to play on into the middle. Kick goes that way towards Scott, but Monson coming over the top did really well. Shrugs him off and gives the hands forward, and the Magpies are on here. Hallahan, that finds Tate short. Was he interfered with? He was.
And just having a look at that, Aidan, the thing they're going to have to be really good with today, Dalyston, is going inside forward 50, because Inverloch's back 50s just the half-backs, they just dominate as Inverloch Kongwak entering inside 50, but just far too easy there as Harris intercepting there for the Maggies. But yeah, they're so good at intercepting Inverloch's half-backs that it's going to be a real big challenge going inside 50 cleanly today, as Dalyston turn over instantly over to Eels, finds a kick forward to Hams. They should enter inside 50 again here. In fact, they will, and that might have the distance as well. In fact, it has. And Inverloch get a goal. It hasn't even been 2 minutes yet, Boxy.
So, as you mentioned, that's what they can do to you. They don't waste time off half-back. They get it indirect and they use their pace and hands, and that can be very dangerous today as the rain comes down again. As I mentioned at the start, we haven't had it for a while, but it's raining again now, which is a great equaliser in this contest. Obviously, Inverloch were dominant last week on a picturesque day with perfect conditions, but they may be tested here with their run and gun game in the wet. It's thrown up in the middle again. Descent wins this tap. It doesn't go towards a teammate. Wilhelms will pick it up and he'll be claimed immediately. Tries to get it out to Descent. His handball's cut off though. This will go in the way of Hayden Wallace. He drops the chest mark. He's pressured there by Patterson, and Patterson did well for IK. Goes in the way of Descent. Here's Geordie Thomas. He'll share it with Joe Samalis. Goes off the deck. Another one-on-one with Monson and Scott. And Monson did tremendously as well. Once again. It's been outstanding, Brad Monson, in defence for Dalyston. This kick goes towards Wallace, who's dropped another one. Samalis claims it, but his handball goes nowhere, and now the Magpies have retained possession. This is another one-on-one. Centre half forward, another free kick as well, holding. This will go to Tate Short. The crowd didn't really like it here at Dalyston, but Short's won the kick. He goes and finds Hams, and he wanted to give it quickly. He does. Here's Bolters. Does he use his pace? No, he goes short inside 50 towards his skipper, Marnie. He can't take the mark.
It's going to be interesting to see how Inverloch Kongwak go today in the wet, of course. But obviously, Dalyston's quite a wider ground, so it'll be interesting to see how efficient their game is, where they use a lot of the wing.
So here's Marnie. Had a solid day last week against the Industrials at home. He's having a good season after a quiet one last year. He'll kick from about 35 metres out, left forward pocket. As we get more rain and a rainbow coming out at Dalyston. Marnie's kick's on the way, and it looks to be there. No, misses to the near side. So that's another thing that you may not know at home, but when it's a day like this at Dalyston, that becomes a dead pocket at times, and it's very hard to kick goals from that side of the ground, especially at that end, as the Magpies come out from the kick out there. This is Duve. He'll go up the line, and that's marked well there by Clark. Plays it on. This is in the path of Short and Rankin, and they look to mop it up. Here's Dorling. He's got an option wide. It's Marnie. Will get pressure late. Try and spin and get it over the back, and he does. I think he's going to be pinned there, though, for a throw.
So Dalyston now with possession, and the defence for the Magpies has been a bit average despite their offence taking absolute leaps and bounds as Monson takes a good contested grab there. But they're going to have to really slow Inverloch down on the wing today because, of course, Inverloch is such a good defence themselves. So pushing the ball up forward further, Storr couldn't take the mark, just bounced right off his chest and then was caught in a crowd of Sea Eagles. So the umpire's going to call for the ball back. And now just outside of Dalyston's 50, over to Marotta, who goes on the side, kick towards goal, should go out of bounds here. Got to Patterson first, who was then pushed over. So early days, 5.5 minutes in, 1-1-7 for Inverloch. Dalyston yet to score as they have entered inside 50 for the first time in this contest. Thrown in, tapped out of the pack. Just has to chuck on a little bit of his check side. McLean up forward, couldn't take it. Was punched out by that man in Hayden McLean at full forward. Now they look to exit Inverloch Kongwak, but they haven't got the numbers here, so it's going to be kicked out just into air again. Won't pay the mark, the umpire. So instead it's Hallahan going for anywhere near goals. And it's intercepted well by Inverloch Kongwak.
So Dorling will bring it out to Pryor. Got Patterson running for him short, uses him by hand. Patterson goes towards Thomas, good chest mark, right in front of us here in our broadcast position. He'll share it with Samalis, but it's punched out of bounds there by Jake Barry. Crowd love that one. It's definitely going to be about those 1%ers on a wet day like this. Terrific spoil there from Barry. I'll have a ball in. Here's DeSont and Thomas. Falls to the back. Scott can't claim it. Armstrong taps it well to Murfitt. Here's Marotta. Can't get away. Back to Armstrong. Back to Murfitt. Here's Clark. He's found Duve. Well worked there from the Magpies. He'll go wide. 1-on-1 again with McLean and Eels. Eels has pushed out of it there. Not really a great handball from Bose, but it finds the hands of Short, and he's got Bolters. Bolters releases the handball in the way of Oscar DeSont, and he's pressured out of bounds there from Armstrong.
And if you're supporting Dalyston, this is exactly what you want to see. High pressure sort of defence on that wing, because Inverloch, as we've mentioned, love to play their game throughout that. Like to find the uncontested mark on that wing. So for Dalyston to, playing almost a man coverage and making sure they're pressurising well and getting the spoils to make it go out of bounds for a stoppage. Great work from the Magpies. As they've also entered inside 50. Oh, Cumming couldn't take it, could he? But he's still got a good piece of the footy. Had to dish it off by hands. Umpire calls holding the ball. And Dalyston's defence is working hard to pressure IK in every single way at the moment. Monson has been a star to start off this one. Just has to put it forward. DeSont couldn't take the mark. They've still got the numbers here through Samalis. Got it off to Oscar DeSont. Another inside 50 entry. Will that come back for Bolters? Oh, it's just hit the woodwork there. And now Inverloch have got their second behind of the day. 1-2-8. Dalyston yet to score in this contest on your Total League Workwear scoreboard.
So we've got in the back pocket again. Change room side of the ground. It's a long one now. And Corn's under it for IK. Ball to the back line. Short's got another possession. He puts him back inside 50 deep. This is Wyatt. Couldn't get to it. There'll be another behind to IK. So we've had a pretty even start here. As mentioned, the Magpies have been really solid in the last few moments. IK started fast, but they're holding up well at the moment, the Pies. This one's in the way of Monson. Does he take the double grab it? No. Falls to the front, and Thomas pressures out of bounds. He'll have a throw in. Right on the corner of 50 for the Sea Eagles. McCorn now goes into the ruck against Bowes. No, sorry, Thomas. Thomas wins the tap. No one could grab clean possession, and Carew is claimed instantly. We'll have a repeat stoppage. Pretty dark clouds forming just in front of us here. Pretty even tap again. Doof handsballs it towards a play, but it hits the deck. Scrambling for it there. It's a great tackle there by Tate Short. Getting himself involved again, as he did last week early. Been a great recruit for the Sea Eagles. Here's McCorn and Thomas again. Neither could get to the ball. Thomas taps it forward. Pretty good work there, down in and under from Davey. Patterson will pick it up, it'll go out of bounds. On centre wing, we'll have another stoppage. Probably going to have a lot of these today. The rain stopped at the moment, but it looks like we're going to get a fair bit more as the day goes on. The sun's out at the moment though, it's quite nice. There's Thomas and McCorn to go at it again. McCorn just grabs it. He's tackled and didn't get the handball away. Here's Doob on the left. Goes up the line. It's a great mark right in front of us here by Storr. His left boot will put him inside 50. Good lead. It falls to the back though. McLean was there. It was a decent kick. Eels looks to mop it up, but he can't grab it cleanly. There's Wright and Rankin. Never stops fighting for it. He's tapped it away with the foot. Can't grab it cleanly with the hands though. He's found a teammate though. This is Scott. Does he use his coach? No, he doesn't. He's got Andy Samalis. And now Dorling. Crook, this is his first touch of the footy back in the senior side today. Goes up the line, couldn't find Bolters. Well done again from Monson. It's been outstanding one-on-one so far, Brad Monson.
And what I've just noticed there is that the Magpies have been so good just defending that wing, and Monson, he keeps coming up from halfback and really affecting those contests. So what I'd like to see a little bit more from Inverloch, on that possession there, the corridor was entirely open. And I think it was Samalis all by himself. So they might need to use a bit of that corridor today as they get out of the contest. The Maggies, Duve sends it inside 50. He just has to put one forward. May go to McLean. How's the bounce? Oh, so lucky. Marotta playing a bit of ping pong. He's got to spin out of trouble here. Will he get off in time? Yes. Maggie's hit the board. And Mason's score has now got 15 for the year. May I remind you, that man kicked 17 goals in an entire season this year. We're in round 6 and he's nearly equalised that total. Aiden.
Yeah, he knows where they are, Mason Storr. It's been terrific for the Pies in the last couple of seasons. It's a great build-up as well. Dooves really asserting himself in the midfield. He's been dominant to start. And that's one way you can beat the Sea Eagles on that counter-attack. When they try and string their hand passes, get their run game going, if you can cut it off and get it in quickly, you put them under pressure. And that was really well done from Dalyston. They're on the board, as you mentioned, Baz.
Hayden Wallace is another guy for Dalyston I want to mention as well. His work around the contest has been brilliant as well, Aiden.
Terrific. So here's Thomas and McCorn in the middle to go at it again. Thomas climbs high, but McCorn wins the tap, claims possession again. Kick from Hams didn't go very far. Oh, great contest there. Armstrong and Crook comes out to Duve again. They're inside 50 again, the Pies, and they've got a mark. It's Lockie Wright. He'll turn. He played on pretty quickly, but he's done well. Here's Carew. Kicked a lot of them this season, Baz.
Yeah, he's got the 19 goals, second in the comp, only behind Nathan Gardner of Coralline. So he has been brilliant up forward this season for the Maggies.
So you mentioned Coralline, obviously Dalyston coming off that awesome win at the Cobra Dome last week. Here's Carew, comes in, opens the angle, slammed it into the woodwork. Yeah, oohs and ahs from the crowd there. A little bit disappointed, but they won't be disappointed with the Pies' play so far. It's been outstanding. really been dominant inside. He's short, bringing it out for IK. It's a bit unsure of where he's going, but now he finds Williams. So Josh Williams back in the side for the sick Jordan Batako. He's got Joe Samalas. Joe's short kicks find Crook. So Lockie Crook on centre wing, gives the handball now to Samalas. Puts it out in front of Patterson. He's got to run onto it. Will he keep it in? He does. Just goes with the snap kick inside 50. He's going to stay in. It's punched out of bounds well there from the Magpies defender.
And I just thought there that Inverloch were probably found it a bit too easy to get it inside 50 there. A lot of unpressured sort of scenarios there. So Dalyston just going back behind the ball a bit. Like to see him push up a bit more forward. So thrown in. Geez, that is a good boundary throw in to Sont. Got a tap out, but didn't really get to anyone's advantage at the end of the day. And I think it's Hallahan who was wrapped up there by Hams. So stoppage just on the arc of Inverloch's 50 to Sont. Took up a big climb to get that hit out. Plays at the deck again, pushing the back in the way. Or is it going to be a ball up? Yeah, but it should be a ball up. I thought I might have seen the hands in the back signal there. Nonetheless, it's been a good ruck battle so far. McLean going up there this time. They're just going to get some free space here, Inverloch, but just Dalyston, they're clogging up so much area of the ground. Desant spun around, gave it off by hands to a teammate. Umpire blows his whistle, high contact. So now McCorn just sends one long, and we'll go through for a minor score. 1-4-10 to 1-1-7. Inverloch leading this one by 3 points on your Totally Workwear scoreboard, Aiden.
There'll be another kick out here for Dalyston. Mentioned it before. It's probably greater earlier in the day, but there is a slight wind advantage to that end and that pocket directly across from us today. So Inverloch have been inaccurate to start. Short cuts this kick off from Duve. He looks inside, doesn't use Rankin though, he was there. Use this kick to enter inside 50. He gets pressured on the mark and finds Crook. So nice bit of composure there from Tate Short. Looks for the handball, doesn't get it. Crook's a bit unsure of where to go. He puts him inside 50 now to the pocket in the way of McCorn and Wyatt. But it's punched away and out of bounds. So the Pies defence holding up really well to start this one. It's been great to see, very impressive. It's pretty powerful Inverloch Kongwak forward 50. They're definitely in this one. It's been a great game to start the top two teams in the competition at the moment. It's brought back in. Samalas is trying to track it. Now it spills out of the pack. Scott's chasing it and it goes back out of bounds. So neither side really getting too much dominance around the stoppages at the moment. Could be a key factor because you just know that we're going to have a lot of them today. So we're still inside 50 for IK. McCorn and Thomas will go again. Well, the tap goes in the way of Will Hams, but he couldn't quite grab it and go on. Now Wyatt, deep in the pocket. What does he do with this one? Squares it up. Top of the square, Mahoney. 3 grabs, can't quite grab it, Mahoney there. So exciting play. Nervous times for the defender, and Mahoney just couldn't grab the mark over the back there, and another behind for Inverloch. Kongwak.
And you just get the feeling that this Dalyston defence it's starting to struggle a little bit when Inverloch are pushing inside forward 50. Their inaccuracy was a bit of an issue against Warrigal last week as well, but you know, it only takes a couple moments for them to switch it on, and that's a great intercept mark there from Crook. Read the ball well. So he then runs off his line, sends another one inside 50. Oh, perfectly read by Clark, who is rated very highly internally at the club. The kick doesn't really go anywhere though for the Magpies, so just going to roam around the outside of the 50. Samalas sends one forward, and relatively uncontested there for Desant, who wants to play on, slaps it around his body, and probably had the time there just to go for the set shot, Oscar Desant, but instead he'll snap it around his body, and that's another behind for the Sea Eagles. 1-6-12 to 1-1-7 on your Totally Workwear scoreboard.
Interesting one there. I was about to just mention that Oscar could go back and have a genuine shot there. He likes this ground. Six goals last year.
The Harry Mackay special. When you've got a drop punt available and you go for a snap. Not sure about it.
Don't usually see that from Oscar. But either way, another behind. I'll need to start making the most of those, I think, IK, because Dalyston are well in this one. And they look just as lively inside forward 50, the Pies. So either way, we're ball out of bounds here. We brought back in. McCorn tries to muscle away, but he loses the tap there. But Joe Samalas has won it through handball. Now puts it out to the vacant space. Cumming will run after it. It's a 1-on-1 here with he and West, but Bangeline beats them both. So a switch of play, and now the ball's out of bounds on the direct other side to our last throw in, and McCorn and Thomas will go at it again. So ball in. It's even tough for the boundary umpire to throw it in with the wind on that side, and McCorn wins it. Marnie tries to go over the top. McCorn just, again, grabbed possession, flicked the handball off, and I think it was Hams who got inside 50 there. And now we're in that dead pocket, Baz.
Yeah, and if Dalyston exit outside defensive 50 here, what you really want to see is a bit of composure off half back. It's what they've probably lacked so far, turning it over a lot, the Magpies. So deep inside the pocket, is that Hams who's just chucked one up? And he's got it as well. Will Hams. Oh, no, he hasn't. He's celebrated a bit too early. The goal umpire's going to call it.
So Will was halfway through his celebration. Usually when the goal umpire doesn't move, it doesn't signal, you've got the goal there, and it's almost sucked him in there and just put the one finger out. Much to Will's disappointment. And now the Pies have got it in the way of Monson. Been mega in this first term. His left boot goes the way of Duve, and it's punched away from Rankin. Toussaint gets possession after the punch, gives it back to Rankin, now to Scott. Scott's got Bolters, who's got Crook, and they're inside 50 again in the way of Cumming. Has he got this one? No, dropped it again. Hallahan now, his hands are good to Wallace in defensive 50, and he's composed enough to get it to right, and he plays on. So can the Pies counter-attack here? Kick's not great though. He was looking for Davey. Unfortunately goes out of bounds, but that's the way they can do it. It's ping pong. They've been in a few shootouts this season, the Magpies, so I'm not sure if you want to get into one of those with IK, but they're definitely very powerful in their forward half, and their movement's been solid to start this one despite the wet conditions. So we have ball in. The outer side. McCorn gains possession again, but goes nowhere with the footy. It's won back by, I think there was Hallahan on the inside there. His kick goes straight to Jarvis Pryor, and he wastes no time. Switches the play. Here's Dorling. Drops the mark, no, and then slips over. Chance for Hewitson. Former Sea Eagle, Hewitson. Here's Storr. I think this was touched, yeah. Touch ball's the call in the way of Eels, and he came out well there. Mopped it up. He's found Rankin. He's pressured by Hallahan. That will be holding the ball. So that was Bose. So great pressure there from Bose. The umpire just tells him to come a few paces around, but Rankin held on to that one, and Bose just plays on. No play on call. Interesting there. He puts him in at full forward. Marked well there. No. Yes, he's called the mark there. The crowd didn't like that one. Strong crowd here at Dalyston. We've got Ladies' Day function on today as well. $35 a ticket. Celebrating all the wonderful ladies in our lives. Awesome initiative from the Magpies. Here's Williams for IK. He's kicked in the direction of Oscar Toussaint, but it'll trickle out of bounds, out of side.
So, Dalyston have looked dangerous pushing the ball forward, but there's a couple things here and there just looking a bit iffy. Maybe some more contested marking inside 50 as well. So here we go again on the wing. Boundary throw in. So it's sent in, tapped out the back of the pack, almost tackled instantly, I think it was Wallace. Umpire calls for the ball back. Or no, rather he'll pay the free kick. Maybe in the back it was. So ball sent up forwards. Just going to fall off the hands of the magpie there. Short, was probably caught high. Maybe it was a duck, the umpire thought. Ball just tumbling around there at half forward. Eventually comes out to the magpie. McLean just has to chuck it on the boot. Really to no one though. And Carew looks dangerous there momentarily before eventually going over the boundary line. And Dalyston have it deep inside forward 50. So shallow boundary throw in. Bowes was tackled instantly. 24 minutes into this first term. Can't imagine there'd be much time left. So Dalyston have got to act here quick. Toussaint pushed his man out of the way. Ball exits the contest. Marotta still working hard to get back. And turnover there to Wilhelms, who collected the mark as the quarter time siren goes. 1-7-13 for Inverloch. Dalyston 1-1-7, and they've certainly missed their opportunities, the Sea Eagles. They could be up by a lot more at the moment, but still plenty of signs to like from the Dalyston Footy Club as well. We're going to take a short break going into quarter time. Don't leave us. We'll be back shortly. I forgot to do my contact sheet. So welcome back to the Fairhaven Homes Match of the Round stream in the West Gippsland League. And it's been a tight contest so far. Inverloch only leading this one by 6 points, and they've had a couple of repeat inside 50 entries, but just failing to really hit the scoreboard efficiently, whereas Dalyston, they've been really good in the contest, winning plenty of clearances, but just bombing it a bit too much inside forward 50. Need to lower the eyes a bit going inside 50, and even off halfback as well, just not exiting all that efficiently. But let's see what Dalyston and what Inverloch can do going into this second term. It's been a good contest so far, and if Dalyston can pull something off today, I think they would start to begin legitimising themselves as an actual finals contender. Of course, we mentioned in the pre-game show that they've faced some weaker opponents in Bunyip and your Curran Burrows and your Killy Basses, but geez, if they can even get close to beating Inverloch Kongwak today, that would be pivotal for the rest of the year for this proud football club. But here we go, once again. So Thomas was in the ruck there, hit out, went straight to Sont, and now out towards the wing. Should go out of bounds here, or maybe Marotta keeps it alive. No, he'll just have to tap it over in the end. Boundary throw in near the 50-metre arc. Just Sont climbed over Thomas, punched it towards goals, and another stoppage this time, pretty much on the arc of 50 metres.
We have it. We're just. It's something we are looking
So thrown up again, Mr. Sont and Thomas. No real winner there. This ball's crashed into there by Crook. Here's Andy Samalis. His handball's in the way of Geordie Thomas as he's claimed high. So he'll have a kick just inside 50. Right forward flank. Looks for options. Plays it on now with a short one, and it's cut off beautifully by Hallahan. Back pocket for the Magpies. Runs on. Gets it up to about centre wing. Big climb from the back, punched away from short. Straight to Sont. It's Marcus. His left boot gets him inside 50 in the way of Cumming and Marnie. No mark though. Punched away and out of bounds well from the Magpies defence once again. Really started well. The back six for the black and white. It's thrown in. This time it's Cumming and Thomas. Undersized Cumming, so Thomas wins the tap. Cumming's still going. Did well there. Finds the hands of Monson. He turns it over to Hamzone. Bolts his kick, squares them up. It's at centre half forward now for IK. Tom Hams to Jim Samalis. Samalis has handballed it. Scott puts in the path of Tom Hams, but he turns it over. Goes back to 50 and it's marked by Andy Samalis. A step inside 50. He plays on instantly. Here's Bailey Patterson. He plays on, puts to the top of the goal square, and there's no one home. Another interesting decision there from IK to play on. So here's Dalyston then out of full back. Now it's in the hands of Murphy. He plays on instantly with pressure on his back. He's put it out on the full right in front of us here. So both teams want to move it really fast, but I think a bit too fast at the moment. Bit of a silly play on there from Murphy. Now IK won it back. Bounces in front of short. He'll get pressure from either side, but he's found Dorling on the outer side. Did really well there, Tate Short. Got a lot of composure about him. It's Kyron Dorling. He goes short. He's got Thomas. Finding a fair bit of it today, Geordie Thomas. Strong game last week. He's tucked up against the boundary. Search for Wyatt. He's marked well.
Really slowed it down there in Inverloch. Much better. What's happened here? I've heard a whistle blown.
Out on the full, I think.
He's unlucky.
It'll have to be, yeah. Was a good build-up though, Baz.
Yeah, it certainly was. I like how they slowed it down in Inverloch, and they were a lot more composed and clever entering inside 50. And Dalyston just done the exact opposite there. Instant turnover to Inverloch, and you cannot do that because you're going to have guys who are going to kick goals eventually. So he just sends a long high bomb inside. He's punched out by Clark, but Monson seemed to have a good look at it. so he was mocked. He had to get it out somehow. Went over the back of his head. Thomas tapped it right to an IK player. Samalis getting around and then just playing a bit of back and forth, bit of tennis here before the umpire eventually caused a free kick, but it was just going in and out of defensive 50 for the Magpies. Literally got it. And Marotta now. Once again, just got to be clever.
It's an option in the middle, didn't use it.
Yeah, just stop sending it towards that wing because they will intercept it all day, those halfbacks. Hams, almost found Scott. So they'll exit again, this time going through the middle, and they could be out here, the Magpies. They've got to be clever. Storr goes through the middle with a centering kick. Will he find Wallace? He will, but he's met in a 2v1 situation. Had to give it off to Carew, but the handball didn't make its way there. So now Jarvis Pryor is in big trouble, and they've called holding the ball. That is piping hot, that is. Jeez. So Carew's going to get the free kick here. Hit the woodwork before on a set shot earlier. Oh, the uncontested mark really could have been taken there. And he's instead hit the ground. And now there's a ball up, Aiden.
So another promising build-up from Daly. Every part in this as Inverloch is. But it wasn't best effort there from McLean. Out on the full. Ball back to the Seagulls. So Tate Short will have it once again. Getting plenty of the footy across half-back once again for IK. Settled in really well this season in his new colours. His Pryor. His kick's a bit of a floater out in the way of Marcus Desant. And he'll find the boundary line. Not exactly known for his skills, Jarvis Pryor. You can see that there, unfortunately. But he's got the ball out of D50 and he'll have a throw in. Marcus Desant will come late to this one, doesn't get there. Thomas wins the tap. No clear possession made here, no. And now Hallahan just wills it inside 50. It's taken well. Here's Wallace from 45, lines up. Goal square! No one touched it. And Hayden Wallace has given the home side the lead.
And that's been the difference.
Sorry, tied it up.
That's been the difference today, Aiden. Inverloch, they've had a lot of repeat entry inside 50s, but they just have looked nowhere near as dangerous as Dalyston when they're going inside. And Hayden Wallace, what a goal there. Simply brilliant. As it's now 13 apiece, as this one looks to form itself to be a classic. Hopefully Dalyston can just keep up this sort of game though, despite Inverloch being such a quality side. But Inverloch undefeated at the moment, and alarm bells are ringing at the moment. 7 minutes into this one, 13 apiece on your Totally Workwear scoreboard. Here we go again. Thomas versus Son. Neither really won. Goes out to the right of the players. Hallahan trying to get to it. Instead it's going to be kicked forward. I think that's Clark there running for it. But Thomas won the contest. And then entering inside 50 low kick. Should be Monson here, who's tackled. That could be holding the ball. Wow. And another really 50-50 sort of free kick there. Paid, and it's going to be Tate coming. Winding up. Tough angle. Around about 30 metres out. And this would be an instantaneous reply from Inverloch Kongwak to give them back the lead. Strolls in, and Cumming has kicked it.
It's been solid this season, Tate Cumming. He's had a few games where he's been almost there. He's almost taken over. He's great overhead, but that time was his pressure. And he's got a beautiful left boot on him. And you saw it there. So the Seagulls go back up by a straight kick. Great contest, this one. Rain stayed away as well, which has been brilliant. Sun's out at Dalyston. Top two sides in the West Gippsland football netball competition. Here's Desant and Thomas once again. Nice even tap there. I think Desant probably got over the top, and Will Hams gets another clearance. finds the test of Joe Samalis. He's got Lockie Scott. He's got to go to the lead of Bolters, and no, it was coming. He's taken it well. He gives it off to Andy Samalis. He's claimed instantly, but he gets it off to Wyatt. Wyatt's handball over the top of Thomas, though. Still going. Here's Marnie. Back inside to Wyatt. He goes back to Joe Samalis. He's got Tom Hams, and he's hit hard by Monson. He's won the free. He plays on immediately. Will he have a go here? Puts it into the pocket. He's got Tate coming. So, chance for 2 in a row here for Cumming. Big contest there. Tom Hams winning the free kick. Cumming plays on, snaps around the body, and he's missed to the near side.
What was that free kick for?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. It was a tough contest.
Was it front on?
I think he might have paid the mark.
I don't know. That was
I think that'd be my best bet.
a very questionable decision there.
I think the mark was paid to Tom Hams there. Either way, behind was the result. 2-8 now, Inverloch Kongwak. Not the best start. Daly have got it, and they go up the line, and here's the big man, Thomas. It's been solid so far. It's been a great battle with both Marcus DeSant and Clint McCorn, and that's 50 metres. So Jim Samalis played on a bit early there. So can they make something out of this, Dalyston? Trail by 7 points. It's Kurt Thomas. He goes short. It's not the best kick. Wilhelm's got the pressure there, and he's got DeSant. Uses him, and now Jim Samalis. Got a bit of space. He'll go short to Bolters. Great mark. Has he paid it? Yes. Wasn't sure that was 15. Either way, Nick Bolters plays on. Got options in the middle. Thinks better of it. Goes to the lead of Cumming, the hot hand. Good contest with Monson. He's done well again. But IK still have possession. Here's Tom Hams. First year head coach has put it through. And that's what they can do to you. If you turn the footy over, they're just so dangerous on the counter, the Sea Eagles. Still even though. The Dalyston defence has been really good to stand up. At that time, just the rush of players inside 50. Monson did tremendously once again, but he didn't have enough support, unfortunately. And it's IK 3-8-26 playing Dalyston 2-1-13 on the Totally Workwear scoreboard, Baz.
So Inverloch just starting to get a little bit of an advantage over Dalyston, you'd feel. Dalyston, like I said before, they're just going to be a bit more cleaner going inside, because you cannot turn it over at half back, because they will just eat that footy up all day and make scoring opportunities out of it. Thomas won the hit out, got it out somehow, despite the extended pressure. Rankin filled the hole well. Just took a nice collected and calm mark. Crook at centre half back. Could go up the middle here. The size against it. They'll stick to their guns, the Sea Eagles. So it goes out towards the wing. Almost took the mark, did Wyatt, and then turned it over. So they've pushed it forward again. Could be in the back, and the umpire's seen it there. So going back towards the Sea Eagles. Just a bit silly there from Fraser West. Short. Jukes his man out a little bit. Takes a bounce. Finds the wide open Samalis at centre wing, who then decides to centralise a little bit, and that's been picked off well by, I believe it's Hallahan. And then he's got an open man on the wing here. They must move here, the Magpies. So Davey lowers the eyes. Not sure who he's looking for there. Dalyston still have the footy. Was toppled over. Didn't really have clean possession though. Did the forward. So Crook. Just a random kick out to the boundary line. Oh, how has that been kept in by Samalis? And how good is that? They can counter off this, the Sea Eagles, but the ball's just slipped out of possession, and then Wallace tried to disguise the handball to go over the boundary line there, but...
It's won the free here.
Oh, what was it?
Holding.
Holding? Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Interesting call. Sorry, mate.
That's all right.
So Hayden Wallace, in front of the healthy home crowd, just goes short in the way of Kurt Thomas, but he's overcooked him. Now the Seagulls win it back through Crook. Big contest between Samalis and Davey. I think it was then. No, it was Marotta. Duve tries to escape with the footy. Too late though, and we'll have a stoppage. We've had about 14 minutes tick over here. Second term. McCorn and Thomas. No clear winner. McCorn wins it, no, and it's almost thrown out there. It's won by Hallahan. Here's Murfitt. He put the Pies inside 50. It's a deep one. Can they get a mark? They can.
Wonderful grab, Hayden McLean.
So the crowd loved that one. It's a great build-up too, and that's one thing they've probably held on to for the entirety of this contest so far. It's just dominance on the inside. At the time it was Hallahan releasing Murfitt, and great grab, as you say, Baz, by Hayden McLean. He's about 15 metres out, 45-degree angle. His left foot kick's a good one. He's gone over the post. I think they've given him a goal though. They have. So he stuck it in. Hayden McLean's got the Pies back on the board again. It's another stoppage win, another clearance, and it ended in another score for Daly. It's one spot they've been really the beneficiaries in this one. They're better in the contest, and they still trail by 7 now. We're back in the middle. Great finish from McLean after an outstanding mark overhead. Looks pretty hard to defend when he gets his mitts at full stretch. Back in the middle. McCorn rises high, but goes too early. Now Will Hams will get another clearance with his left foot. This one's in the way of Marnie. But coming to the front and doing well there was Harris. Oh, that one's in the way of Davey, I think, but Dawling's won it and he's put a sky ball. Here comes Monson from way back. Couldn't quite complete the mark though. It's bubbling about in there. Here's Crook. He's claimed immediately by Murfitt. We'll have a stoppage right in front of us here. Left half forward for IK. McCorn wins the tap, takes possession, puts him inside 50, and he's found to Sant. He's dropped the mark. Recovers well though. Tries to get the handball away, but it's cut off well by Lewis. Still in possession. In dispute here. Bolters is tapping it around. He's brought to the ground. I think we'll have a stoppage here. We will.
Sant's made a couple really uncharacteristic sort of mistakes today. The first the snap, and then really that mark he probably should have taken there.
He'll go up again here. He wins the tap and wins possession again. Tries to get it going forward. Harris does well again. Will Samalis mark this? No, he drops it. Here's Monson. Oh, well done. He's got the Pies working it onto the wing. Here's Duve. Duve can use Hewitson, but he's overcooked him with the handball, and Samalis will try and win it back for IK. He's on the deck, still squabbling about in there. Duve gets back in and wins it back for Dalyston. Again, his handball goes nowhere really, and a great spin from Will Hams. He releases Crook. Centre half forward now for IK, and it's taken well by Monson, having a blinder so far. Very hard man to beat, Brad Monson. He's got Carew. Carew takes a bounce, looks upfield, told to go long by the crowd, and he does so, but it's punched away by Rankin. He keeps it in though, and he gives it straight to Murfitt, and he's got Davey. Not 15, play on. Dawling doesn't hear it on the mark. Davey puts him inside 50, punched away. Here's Jemison Samalis. He'll put IK back to the wing, one-on-one with Thomas and West there. Thomas wins it for IK, but he can't get possession, and coming claims West out on the wing. So a bit more pinball action there. Both sides wanting to go fast with the footy. It's good to see, very exciting. So we'll have a stoppage here. Here's McLean, and McCorn was worked out of that one, and McLean won the tap, but good enough to put the tackle on there was McCorn. We'll have a repeat stoppage. So right near the middle of the wing, out of side here, Dalyston. Just over 18 minutes gone in the second term. IK still lead it by 7 points. It's bubbling about in there still. Tackle pressure's really lifted in the last few moments. Despite it drying up, we're still having a lot of stoppages as they battle about on the inside. This one bubbles out though. Way of Bolters and Armstrong. Armstrong taps it forward and will go out of bounds, you'd think, but Bolters actually ended up picking it up for the boundary line. Now Hams has claimed high. So, bit of a stalemate at the moment as both teams try and work themselves out again. Will Hams will play on. Putting to an interesting spot. He's turned it over here. Bit of a weird kick, no real option there. And Duve puts Daly to centre half forward. Great mark. Mr. Storr. What's he got inside 50? He's left foot ball, top of the square. Oh, just marked. Couldn't take the mark there. Was Davey, and he's squabbling about for the ball there. It's picked up, left foot snap, hits the post. So they're exciting inside 50, the Pies. That was Barry.
It reminded me a bit of almost like Adelaide at the moment, Dalyston. Their defence is probably not holding up all that well, but once they enter inside 50, they are just taking up another level, playing a really good brand of footy inside 50. Inverloch look to exit out. Rankin at half-back gives it off to the running man through the middle. I think it was Samalis in the end. And sent it forward, Cumming versus Monson. That's been a great battle all day. It was Monson who won on that occasion, and then Wallace gave it right back to Patterson for Inverloch Kongwak, who takes his time, assesses his options, goes the lateral kick. Oh, that was a real dangerous choice. But Andrew Samalis was strong in the end. Rankin going through the middle here, which they don't normally do. It's going to be Crook who tried to find Toussaint there, but was met well by the defender. Murfitt kicking it across, finding Duve, who's played a real good game of footy today. Down by 6, the Magpies. Out towards the wing. Inverloch Kongwak got the better of them there, or maybe not. They look to go towards goal here, the Maggies, but another turnover again. They're proving costly. Samalis, Hams. He's got a man chasing after him. And the whistle's been blown here. I think it's going to be a downfield free kick, and fair enough here. Inverloch Kongwak will get it back. I think Hams was just knocked a little bit there by the man who was chasing him. Didn't happen to notice who it was. So,
a bit of afters going on here.
Still going there. Samalis, uncontested, is Scott. Doesn't look entirely confident within himself to take the set shot. And they've paid a 50-metre penalty now. At that point, if you're Dalyston, you just have to stop. The fight's broken up, and they've just given away a goal here. So Lachlan Scott is going to put the Sea Eagles up by 12. 21 minutes into this second term. The Sea Eagles get another off a 50-metre penalty, Aiden.
So you just felt like something was going to happen there either way. It's been a while since a goal was scored or a really big play in the game occurred, and there's a bit more going on here. Tensions are still flaring. I think free kick's been won, has it? And another 50.
Another?
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. I don't want to be harsh, but you're playing a team who is 5 games undefeated on top of the table. You just cannot afford to lose your head like this. And now Marcus Toussaint's got a shot at true centre half forward. He'll kick from about 45, and he has every bit of the leg for sure. In he comes. Slow build up. Kicks on the way. It's all about the accuracy here. It's there. So IK have been absolutely gifted 2 in a row here, although that one took some finishing and it was tremendous from Marcus. Would never put that past him though. He's definitely got that skill in his repertoire, but I cannot believe that still.
It was Blake Carew who gave away that free kick there. You could hear Matt Hallahan from where we're standing. He goes, "Shut up, Blake." Like, you can't be giving back-to-back 50s.
Well, another free kick after a goal is enough, but a 50-metre penalty just hurts, especially against a team as good as the Sea Eagles are. They're playing at the moment. As the umpire had a word there to do, and you think they'll reel it in a little bit now, the Pies. But it's good to see their fight and their aggression.
Well, scoring opportunities have really been hard to come by today for Dalyston. I know they've been effective when they've gone forward, but you just think how big of an impact are those 2 free kicks going to have later on in the day? As the ball spits out for Duve. Scott tried to get a good hand on it, but just couldn't pick it up cleanly. DeSant still running for it. Probably won't get to the footy in time. Wallace, or Harris should say rather, was really good running. Almost lost it, had to chuck a little bit of a Yui. Just sends a helicopter sort of ball up forward. And that is a good grab by Samalis, who will then dish it off by hand. Short can run through and may just go to the right of goal there. So scoreboard reads 5-9-39 to 3-2-20. Inverloch leading this one by 19 points in your total workwear scoreboard. 24 minutes into this one, Aiden.
So Monson will ring it back out. Seagulls are fired up at the moment. DeSant over the backs, balls the way out of Thomas's hands. Scott gives it to McCorn, back to Scott, and he'll run out of room. A lot of support being shared from both sides in front of us here. Duve giving some encouragement of his own. Different sort of way. Here's Thomas and DeSant. DeSant's lifted in this one. Wins the tap and Hams. Tries to draw the high free, won't get it. Great tackle there from Lewis.
Well done, Will.
Here's DeSant and Thomas once again. Great battle today. So that's McLean. No clear. Well, Duve's won the free. So can the Magpies get one of them back? Just giving two away. Duve's kick will go straight into the middle of the ground. Won't find a chest, but they've won it here and it won't go anywhere. Gang tackle there was Storr. They've advanced the ball here, the Pies. They would love a late one. 25 and a half minutes gone so far. McLean wins the tap and just puts it on the left boot. They're at centre half forward now. No mark. Hallahan picks it up and he's claimed immediately. They're giving him no space. He's awesome inside, Mitch Hallahan, but he's been claimed pretty quickly every time he's touched it. McCorn wins the tap. Well, claims possession, but Marotta come through beautifully. Now Murfitt puts them inside 50 to full forward, and it's taken well by Rankin. So he and Monson, just those two half-back pockets that are just so hard to beat. They're so good in the air. His kick's not the best, though. It's in the way of McCorn. He's one-on-one with Armstrong. He does well. Takes a contested grab. Just slows it down and has a look. They can afford to take a few minutes off the clock here, okay. Here's Andy Samalis. He's got Short in the middle. Short moves it along again. Here's Will Hams in space. He can run on and have a shot here. Inside 50 now, takes a bounce, straightens up, shots on the way. Misses to the near side. Had a bit more time there, Will. Looked like he's visibly exhausted though. Had a big quarter. Another behind for IK, they led it by 20, Baz.
Yep, so here is Duve on the wing. Took a nice overhead mark. You've got to move quick here, the Maggies. There can't be much time left on the clock. And they're down by 20 points. So Murfitt just sends one down the line and it's punched over far too easily by Inverloch Kongwak. So now another boundary throw in. 27 minutes into this second term. It's been a real good quality game of football so far. Plenty of discussion points as well. So thrown in, McCorn just collected it out of the contest. Rankin hit the deck, McCorn tried to kick it into space, finds the boundary line. Dalyston, they've been good in the middle today. Just got to be good one more time before going into the major break. McCorn has been real good today in the ruck. Wyatt was met by Duve. Umpire calls for a back. McCorn, no, rather McLean that time, dominating the hit out. Oh, how's that? Don't argue from Marotta, was almost found holding the ball though. So then dished out by hands. They've gotten the ball somehow, Inverloch Kongwak, and once again over the boundary line, another throw in.
So it's been a lot more contested this term. A lot of pressure at the coalface. So McLean shoves McCorn out of the way, but he taps it straight down to Jim Samalis, who's claimed instantly by Hewitson and Hallahan. And we'll have another stoppage. So we tick towards 29 minutes. Can't be too long left in this term. Oscar Desant taps it forward. He can't win possession again. Here's Marotta. Tries a spin move on no one and is tackled well by Jim Samalis. And he can have a shot from about 70 here if he wants. I don't think he will. And that'll do it. So that's a half done. It's been a tremendous contest so far. In the sunshine here at Dalyston. IK lead at 5:10.40 to Dalyston 3:2.20. And had it all that quarter. So we'll take a break and be back with you shortly.
So the teams are back out for the second half here at Dalyston. It's been a hot contest so far between the top two teams in the West Gippsland Football League. We've had some sunny skies, we've had some rain, but it hasn't deterred the teams from playing some pretty red-hot footy. It's been travelling end-to-end pretty quickly. It's been hot in the contest, and you can really see that Dalyston are looking to mount a real charge this season and try and put themselves into finals contention. Usually there's a lot to say about the final spots between 4th, 5th and 6th, and they're really keen to buy one of those this season after just a couple wins last year. You can see that they're taking it up to IK today, and they're really trying to play aggressively and put them off their game, but they went over the top in that second term and gifted them 2 easy goals with 50-metre penalties. So I'm sure they were told by their new head coach, Dean Wiley, to just pull it back a little, still go hard at the footy, but not at the man, and keep their heads, and they'll be in this one. It's just a 20-point deficit as it stands at the moment. And we've just got a few people making their way off the ground, and we're nearly set to go in the second half. It'll be Toussaint and Thomas to start us off once again. They've shared a great battle. Always up to the task is Marcus Toussaint, and Kurt Thomas no different. So just an update as well. We had the top 2 clash in the A-grade netball division as well, and that was won by the Sea Eagles, the reigning premiers. They look ominous in this season as well. As the siren goes, we're getting underway for the second half here. Up goes the ball. Toussaint wins the tap, goes forward in the way of Duve. He wins possession, he gives it back to Toussaint though, can't claim it though. Here's Smith. Smith runs over the top of it, and Andy Smarlis puts IK inside 50, but it's attacked well by Monson, and he finds Hallahan, went to play on, thought better of it. Really well done there from Monson. And Hallahan's kick releases Armstrong. He's got some wheels. He can put him inside 50, not the best kick though. Bit of a scrubber. And Carew's looking to gather it. It's almost going out of bounds, but he screws his kick and it's going to go, it was touched, so it'll go out of bounds on the full, but off the hands of the IK defender, so we'll have a throw in inside 50 for the Magpies. So they'd love an early goal here, Daly. What can they make out of the stoppage? It'll be Bose and Toussaint. In comes the ball. No real winner there. Short's just slung out of it. He's called holding the ball. Could have gone either way. I reckon it was a great tackle from Marotta. And he'll line up to give Daly an early one here. And that would really lift them.
Well, they certainly need it, don't they? After what was probably a bit of a rough end to that second term, they absolutely need this to get close to regain the lead.
So here's Marotta, comes in, kicks on the way. It's a high one. It's there, they love it. The crowd a bit late on the scene, but they love it too. And Michael Marotta has got the first of the second term. Goes the way of the Magpies. Great work there from Brad Monson once again off half-back.
And Marotta, he's such a talent, is he, for the Dalyston Football Club. Played a couple of games for Collingwood for their 2s in 2019 and was also a 2017 Team of the Year midfielder in the West Gippsland League. So here we go. Dalyston trying to find themselves back in this. It's 40-26 early on in the second term. So thrown up by the umpire. Toussaint won the hit out, collected his own, in fact, and just chucked it on the boot towards anywhere, and eventually found its way to Clark, the Dalyston defender. Samalis off the deck, handballed it to a teammate who was instantly tackled by Marotta. And umpire just observing the contest there before calling for the ball to be back to him. So in the centre square, thrown up, Thomas gets the hit out. Hallahan just bullying through the packs and it's brought to ground once again. Mitch Hallahan played 26 games of AFL footy for Hawthorn and the Gold Coast. punched out. Off by hands, Hallahan. Duve just sends the ball forward, not really to anyone in particular. And then rebound 50 by Inverloch Kongwak. Much of the same sort of kick though. Hallahan bullied his way through the contest, then sent a high one up forward. Umpire blows his whistle, high contact going back towards Dalyston. So this is a real good opportunity to strike. Here is Mason Storp, who kicks the first goal of the game for Dalyston. Lowers the eyes, looking for anyone. Oh, they've got the numbers out the back here, the Maggies. Here they come. I smell a bit of a comeback coming on. And what a wonderful goal. They are now only down by the 8 points. This famous football club.
It was Jake Barry in the end. It was 3 of them on the back there, as you said, that could have raffled it really. But Jake Barry reduces the deficit to just 8 now. And the Pies have got 2 in the row to start the second half. Sort of response that all the fans here would have loved to have seen from their side, and they've supplied it. They're definitely making a game of this. Every bit the top 2 clash that we were expecting. Dalyston 5-2-32 now, playing Inverloch's 5-10-40 on the Totally Workwear scoreboard as the ball's thrown back up in the middle. Desant probably won that tap but went nowhere. Now Joe Samalis grabs possession but can't further the ball along anymore, and Hallahan claims him. He's lifted in this first few minutes, Mitch Hallahan. He's having a great battle with Andy Samalis in the middle. It's tapped down, no one win possession. Here's Thomas, he's tackled well from behind by Clark. Still bubbling about in there. It's very tough inside this match. You've got to be pretty strong to win possession in there. A lot of players getting gang tackled as soon as they grab it. Desant wins this one and we'll have a repeat stoppage. This one going nowhere. So it's a centre half forward for IK. Desant will go back up with Thomas. This one's won by Thomas. It's taken well. It's put inside 50 just. It'll be a 2-on-1. Poir and Rankin try and both mark the ball, and Rankin's still on the deck. Copped a hard one there, and it was won by Tom Hams, and IK's won the free. It's Desant, play goes on. Rankin still pretty ginger. Desant's kicks trying to find his brother Oscar, and it'll trickle out of bounds. No, Oscar keeps it in, and he gives it there to Marnie, and he tries to keep it in as well and does, but loses possession. Now the Magpies on the counter, run into trouble. Cumming trying to run after it, can't claim it. Now he does. Gets the handball away. And the Seagulls go back inside 50. Monson's under this one though. Goes over the back. Can they make something of this, IK? Thomas still going, still fighting. Gives it off now. And finally it goes out of bounds. So a bit of play up and down the boundary line there on the far side. Didn't see Rankin come off. No, he's back up and he's all right. It was a massive contest there between he, Carew and Pryor. It's thrown back in. Monson after it for Daly. Can't make anything of it. Snap out of the pack. Is it there? No. So you just feel like plays like that, if you get a goal like that, that can really lift you, but not to be that time, and that's Inverloch Cormac's 11th behind. And as you said, Baz, that might haunt them later in this one.
They really could have put it away, eh? But nonetheless, they're just going to have to make the opportunities that present to them from now on. Wallace in the back pocket. He's going to have to send it down the line. Doesn't see anyone else open. Desant nearly took a really good contested mark there. It's just a little bit off Duve. Tried to exit the contest via hands. And then the Dalyston player just instantly tackled there. It was Cooper Smith. So very close to the boundary line here. Thomas, who's been good in the ruck for Dalyston today, won the hit out just before the umpire called for it moments after. Desant got the better of Thomas on that occasion though. So then it's kicked out of the pack to empty space. Here come the Sea Eagles. Marnie just tried to sock it off the ground, but couldn't really get anywhere near it. In the end, Monson is an option for Clark. Instead, they go through the middle. Marotta, you really got to mark that though, don't you? So now they're going to send a long bomb towards goal. Inverloch, Kongwak strike. How good's that from Tom Hams? He's got 2 today.
That is absolutely textbook Inverloch Kongwak play, just in a nutshell there. If you make a mistake, they are every bit good enough to make you pay, and the coach showing him right there that that's what they're all about. Obviously filling the shoes of club legend Ben Samalis this season, Tom Hams. Big shoes to fill, but he's doing it tremendously. He's got his team sitting atop the table. No blemishes on the season yet either. And he slammed home a long one there. Put the lead back to 15 points. Back in the middle, it's McCorn and Thomas now. McCorn wins possession again, done that a lot today. His right boot will put him inside 50. Coming, couldn't quite grab it. Here's a great rove by Bolters. He's an excitement machine. Couldn't get it towards a teammate, no, and Smith, he's got some wheels. His left boot will get him up the line, but it'll flying high as Hams and giving away the free kick. And they play on instantly, and Dorling will cut it off. So a bit of excitement there from Will Hams. Went a bit early though, didn't get anywhere near the footy. But they're set up so well in defence, IK. Now Dorling goes back to Williams. Pryor. Got Eels running for him. Goes in that direction. Bit of a slow build up here. They shift play. Did it so well last week against the Dusties at home. Williams. Just got short. On short. Goes there. Late pressure from Dude. Couldn't quite get there. So Tate short. Deep in defensive 50. His kick will go up the line in the way of Hams. Climbs again. This time he takes the mark over Smith. Looks up the line. This kick's a dangerous one in the middle towards Scott. Punched from behind by Armstrong really well. Here's Joe Samaras. He's claimed from both sides instantly. Umpire says play on. Hams kick goes inside towards Wyatt. Wyatt spins away from Monson. That hasn't really happened today. Gives it off to Cumming. Now Crook. Crook's kick will put IK inside 50 and he was dumped afterwards. Crowd hates it. But IK will have a shot at goal. I think it'll be Nick Bolters.
I'm sorry. I apologise. I didn't say what Inverloch Kongwak player had the ball there, but how it was directly in front of our camera. How is that not holding the ball? He had so much pride there. You have to pay that.
And 50 metres. So that is the third 50-metre penalty, and I mentioned it before we went on air. Before this quarter started, that they had to keep their heads, the Pies, and Bolters walks in and kicks the easy one. So 2 in a row for the Seagulls after Dalyston opened the term with 2 in a row, and that's the third goal directly from a 50-metre penalty. You just cannot do that against a seasoned team like IK. They will make you pay, and that is for sure.
And clearly the umpire is a bit on edge with Dalyston players as well. So I don't understand, if you're a Dalyston player, why would you even risk that? Like they're just, you just got to soft the back chat towards the umpires at that point. Yeah, when you've now cost your team 18 points, it's just a little bit silly. But here we go once again. So McLean didn't really get a good pace of it. Tried to rip it out of Hams' grasp. In fact, the ball and McCorn hit the deck. Players for Dalyston still trying to burst through. Hallahan just had to chuck it on the boot as he exited the pack, and that's good running there from Dorling. So they'll go for the down the line option again. Looks to be Andy Samalis wide open there on the wing.
He's really trying to run Hallahan to space this game. Hallahan's probably had the better of Samalis on the inside in their matchup, but Samalis is getting around the ground a lot better. Yeah, great observation there from Aiden. 100% agree with that. So ball goes down the line. Play on, says the umpire. No mark taken. So it's just going to be a bunch of bodies in the deck and go out of bounds. the other thing about Dalyston too is they're obviously playing up to that edge. They're trying to get in the heads of the Seagulls by playing that aggressive and rough game on the inside, but you just see that it's such a risky game plan, especially when you go over the edge.
Certainly. So they're all crowded around the footy here. Umpire continues to ask for the footy back. Ball up, McCorn won the hit out. And we'll have another stoppage directly after that one.
So just as we had in the second term, bit of a stalemate at the moment. A few repeat stoppages. No team really being able to break away as the kick goes searching inside 50 for IK and out of bounds in that dead pocket once again. So that's all right. That was a clearance, but you'd think that the teams are sort of getting to know that pocket now, and they will try and use the switch to the other pocket when going inside 50 as the game wears on. It'll be thrown in. It'll be Wyatt and McLean. Wyatt jumps high and wins the tap. Monson's tracking it. Gains possession on his knees, and we'll have another stoppage. So pretty used to this by this stage. A lot of stoppages, and they're pretty contagious. Once one happens, a lot of others follow in general terms. There's high free kicks given away towards Dalyston. So what can they make of this? West will go up the line. Looking to advance it here. It's in the way of Marotta. Climbs high, can't take the mark. It's roved well there, but they turn it over. Here's Williams. Josh's kick goes straight to Hallahan, but it goes through his hands. Strong tackling in there now. Here's Smith for Daly. Gives it to Doof. Gets out of traffic, but his handball goes straight to Bolters there. And we'll have another stoppage. Neither team really being able to gain much meterage either side there. Pressure's lifted for sure. Seems to be after we get a few scores. Both teams turn up the heat on the inside as Hallahan just waltzes out of the stoppage. That's another thing we haven't seen today. Found space where there wasn't any. He's got him going. And that's clearly I was going to say that almost looked like a push there from Williams, but got away with it and it's gone out of bounds. But that clean work from Hallahan's got Dalyston towards their forward 50. It was really nice work there.
Well, what happened there? That was really interesting because you had one umpire out here. He signalled the push, and then the other umpire that was closest to the contest just ignored it.
It's a bit of a confusing one as the ball goes up the line. He's coming and he's tried to do a bit too much there. In a game like this, it really is just first option footy, and he just ignored it on that occasion. He's turned it over. Here's Armstrong. His kick will go up the line. Short flies for it over the man and falls to the back, and Williams marks, plays on, goes to Patterson, but he's overcooked him. Now he's got a 2-on-1 situation. Doof. He shares it. The shot at goal is wide. I think that was from Hallahan. It was. So he really could have made it his quarter there, Mitch Hallahan, with that goal there. Streaming through the 50. Really caught IK off guard after Williams' kick went over the head of Patterson, but not to be. 5-3-33 plays 7-11-53 on the Totally Workwear scoreboard. We've just ticked over 16 and a quarter minutes in the third term.
So at full back, the Seagulls, I believe Short taking the kick out. Found the open man. Getting the real nice options here is Thomas. Gives it to Rankin, running forward. Well, that kick might go a little bit wide, or in fact not, but Monson is going to get called for a free kick. So now Wyatt, he's got the footy. Kicks it forward, and that's a great overhead mark by Clark there, who's been pretty good down back there for the Maggies today. Kicks it across the face of goals. Finds West. Then he'll go along to the wing. He's maybe just overkicked that kick a little. Went towards Oscar Descent, sorry. But no mark was taken. So over the boundary line it goes. Just the 20 points in this one. Dalyston can certainly crawl their way back into it, but they've just got to get more opportunities when going up forward towards the ground. Just turning it over far too much at the moment. That's why the Eagles are winning this one. So punched out. Magpies just really can't get a clean possession. It's just so hotly contested around the football at the moment. Uncontested possessions really hard to come by.
It's definitely heated up.
So thrown in. Thomas tried to collect it. Was unsuccessful though. So ball's going to hit the deck again. Can they find any open option either side? It is just... how many numbers are around that footy there? Nonetheless, a free kick's going to be paid anyway. So Inverloch have an opportunity here. Going inside forward 50. That's a real strong lead there.
That was a massive lead from Wyatt. It came from really deep then, and as soon as he saw the kick was paid, he got on his bike. It just shows his work rate's just outstanding.
So Thomas Wyatt, goes for the little chip option and finds another man up forward. I think that might be McCorn.
It's Bolters, I think.
Bolters.
But as I said earlier, it's not the easiest place to kick goals. Probably one of the hardest in the competition when there's a bit of wind about, as we've got some dark clouds rolling over here. So this could be really big if Nick Bolters is to slot this one. Opens the angle, kick on the way. Looks all right. It's there. So out of nothing there, Wyatt's great lead and grab. He found Bolter's great finish from a tough pocket, and IK have got another one. They extend the lead to 26 now. And if we are to get the rain that these clouds look like they're promising, that could be huge, Baz.
Yes, certainly, and especially for Dalyston, who a bit behind the 8 ball at the moment, really need to start moving, have a bit more composure around getting the ball out of the contest, because they are just turning it over far too much at the moment. I'd suggest that almost all of Inverloch Kongwak's scores would be from turnover as well. So here we go, once again. Dalyston trying to burst through. Hams had enough pressure on Hallahan though. So ball will go back to the umpire. A ball up almost directly in the same spot as before. Desant just gave a big old punch. Scott trying to burst through. They look to be out here to see Eagles. Has to put one forward. Won't make the distance though. So they're just going to have to sock it out. Here, Dalyston in defence. Hams went to ground. Brilliant work, and then snapped. Is it coming back? No, just try to punch it. I'm not sure why you wouldn't try to take the mark there. That should be holding the ball. Umpires paid it. Inverloch Kongwak have another opportunity. It's going to be a certain goal here, and just great pressure deep inside forward 50. And Toby Marnie, who already has the one goal, I believe, today. Did he kick one, Boxy?
He may have kicked the first.
Yeah, I think
the afternoon.
I certainly do remember you kicking at least one. Marnie. This would make it really difficult for Dalyston going into the fourth quarter. No worries for that man.
You can just see that plays like that, Dalyston are just under a lot more pressure now than they were in the first half. And it's from their own doing, really. Because what's opened the game up has just been those, well, it's just the glaring, obvious thing, really. Those ill-disciplined acts, the 3 goals to 50-metre penalties, and that let IK pull away, and now they've got scoreboard pressure to deal with in what's already a tight contest. So, just scrambled on that occasion. And the goal was kicked from the IK skipper. Back in the middle. Trying to fight for it again is Will Hams. He's had a great game. Desant now. Punched from Andy. Samalis finds the boot of Monson though. He's kicking the path of Rankin and Short. Neither can win possession. This is Williams v Storr. Storr with the little tap with the left. Now the kick on the left, and great pressure from Williams. That's going to fly over the fence out on the full.
It's getting dangerously close to my car there. I was getting a bit sweaty there.
The boundary umpire just checked with Williams that it was out on the full there, I think, and he said, yep, so IK have won the ball back. Here's Dorling, who's had a great quarter. He's also superb in the second term. Starting to flourish in his new colours. Crowd says he should play on. He's had a long time, so he does. Puts it in the way of Crook. It's going to bounce in front of him. Does. Monson attacking it hard once again. You love to see it. He goes again. And he goes over the boundary line. He's just been outstanding. He just personifies their back six perfectly, Brad Monson.
If the margin was a bit closer at the moment, he'd probably be getting my 3 votes. But for someone that's playing half-back, it's really hard to give him the 3 votes for the moment for the team that's going to look to be the losing side.
Plays with a lot of heart. Here's Hallahan and Samalas once again. Been an outstanding battle in that time. It was won by Dalyston, holding the ball to Marotta, and he goes inside 50 with a floater. Who can get first hands on this? Josh Williams did brilliantly. And he gives it to his coach in Tom Hams, and he shares it with Patterson. Here's Marnie inside the centre square. He's got options. One of them's Crook running through the middle. No one around him can take his time and put the ball inside 50 in the way of Bolters. No, it was Wyatt. Wyatt can't take the mark, though, and it's walked well by Daly. They've done well here. Armstrong and now Monson. And he's got Duve. Excellent work there from the Magpies under pressure. Murphy's got it. Just in front of the away bench there. Really got to give it to the Daly back six. They've been tremendous. They've been put under so much pressure with the ball coming in with a lot of heat. Duve goes up the line. Here's Carew and Pryor. Big punch from behind from Pryor. Won the contest on the day. And Williams' hand pass just sold Dorling straight into pressure. Not sure why he gave it there. Great tackle from Jake Barry, and his left boot's got him inside 50. Here's a big contest. Rankin misses the fist. Claimed by Pryor, but he gives it back to Dalyston. Here's Smith, claimed immediately by Samalas. Didn't have the footy. And Cooper Smith will have a shot. At 40 metres out. 35, 40 metres out, straight in front.
Just while we're waiting for Smith to stroll through, Blake Carew's going off the ground with a blood rule, copped a heavy knock to the head. So hopefully he is able to come back on.
So the call up this week, Cooper Smith played a bit of his junior footy at Inverloch Kongwak. She won a flag with this fella in under 13s. Kicked the winning goal that day. This will be a big one. Slow build up, just a couple steps, doesn't make the distance, and it's marked. Mason Storr. So something out of nothing there. I think no one really expected the ball to drop that short. Smith gathered no momentum with the run up. I think he's a bit banged up from that tackle as Joe Samalas apologises. Mason Storr, great contested mark in the big pack. He'll line up, goes the drop punt from a tight angle, and he's missed. So that's another interesting decision. Seen a few at that end, Baz.
Yeah, thought I would have maybe gone a snap there, but
Left
geez.
footer. Seen a left foot snap in the repertoire, but not that time.
Yeah, fair enough.
5-4-34 plays 9-11-65 on the Totally Workwear scoreboard. We've just gone 26 and a half minutes in the third term.
So that goal really could have given Dalyston something, because you'd assume the three-quarter time siren is set to go soon. And they're down by 31 points, Dalyston. But they've been courageous today. No one's saying they haven't been good. So Marotta gave a big old punch going down towards Inverloch's endo. Unfortunately, if you're a Magpies fan, so came steaming through. And then Monson working so hard, as per usual. Just has to kick it out into space, doesn't he? Hallahan tried to lay a big knock and then kicked forward to the leading, I think it was Bolters there.
It's just see it so often, sorry Baz, but when Toby Marnie can pick the ball up and run to his left boot, he's just so dangerous, and he almost attacks it a bit quicker when he knows he can go to the left. It's pretty funny to watch, but that time he was good enough to find Bolters, and this is a huge kick as the rain starts to fall down here. Just a quick one, Smith going off the ground. I think he copped a couple of big knocks there.
So Bolters about 50 out. Has he kicked it? No, umpire calls it immediately. It's gone over to the left, and Inverloch Kongwak now lead by 32 points. Dalyston, they need a response going into three-quarter time if they're a chance, without a doubt. I don't think many people would put them past them, though, with their dangerous forward line. So, just a bit of congestion building up there. Umpire calls play on, eventually spits out, but couldn't get it out in time before the umpire called for the ball back. Jeez, that's a bit stiff. The umpire's been made to collect it himself. No one wanted to present and give the ball back to him.
Country footy about that one.
We've started back though, and we should have another stoppage immediately. Now 28, nearly 29 minutes through, and geez, these clouds are looking awfully ominous, especially if you're a Dalyston fan. Tapped out, straight back into the pack. So ball finally comes out, but the siren beats any player to it. So scoreboard reads 9-12-66 to 5-4-34. Inverloch Kongwak winning this one by 32 points on your Total League Workwear scoreboard. Geez, Dalyston are going to need a big old effort in this fourth term to try and get this one back. But they've got a dangerous forward line. We'll see what they're capable of. We're going to take a quick break. Going into three-quarter time, we'll be back shortly.
you join us back here as they've had to turn the lights on. Just across that three-quarter time break, we saw the heavens open and the rain is still coming down here as we've got about half an hour to go in this one. One more quarter. And the home side have got a lot of work to do, but you think it suits them a bit more, this weather. They've been better inside, and I think they'll revert to that just hack it forward game any way possible. And the main thing is they've just got to rein their heads in and make the right decisions in this final term. They're not out of it, but it's a tall task if they are to hand IK their first loss of the season, as they trail by 32 points. So we're set to go here. It's beat to Son and Thomas once again. Neither won the tap, but Thomas was good enough to punch it for a second time. It's in the path of Tom Hams. The rain really starts to pour down here.
Oh.
Inside 50 now for the Pies. Sock it along the ground. It's still going at it. It's in the pocket. Bodies tumble on the footy. I don't think we'll see too much slick play as we have in the first three quarters, Baz.
Well, unless Zach Butters wants to come out and play for either of these two sides. He played a ripper game in the wet last night, didn't he, down in Adelaide? So the ball slides over the boundary line. And there'll be a boundary throw in deep inside Dalyston's forward 50. So it's really pelting down now. Luckily we're undercover. For these guys though, they are not. They are playing out in the worst conditions possible. So everyone is trying to get a good piece of it before it's eventually gone back to the umpire. Pretty much at full forward now for the Magpies. If this is a time to kick a goal, it is right now. How have they done this, Inverloch, Kongwak? They've exited out, and they might even have the numbers for it as well, but players are just sliding all over the joints. Tried to get a clean kick, was unsuccessful. The backman for Inverloch working really hard. It's just going to be a game of soccer at this point. So run over in the mud. Here come Inverloch, Kongwak. Pushing down the ground, just has to send one up to Marnie, who tries to run onto it, eventually got somewhat of it, socketed off the deck. Who's going to win this one? Should be Dalyston, or it may be holding the ball. No, got it off just in the nick of time, did Ben Lewis. And coast-to-coast footy from Inverloch in the pouring rain, Aiden.
So safe to say the worst conditions we've seen all day here. Been another outstanding day of footy and netball in the West Skippy League, but this is just torrential right now. Thrown in though, Wyatt and Thomas this time. Wyatt wins the tap. Kick there from Andy Samalish, comes the way of Monson. His hands were good enough. Hallahan just sends the barrel up the line. Doesn't find anyone though. Rankin tries to tap it to a teammate. It's on the deck now, picked up well by Short. But they've found a free kick. I was just about to sing the praises of Tate Short. He was clean there when no one else could be. That was outstanding. As another kick from Pryor, not his best. Bit of a floater. Pretty tough in these conditions, has to be said. And IK have got it right where they want it. You'd think that their plan would just be to lock it inside their forward half for the next 20 minutes if they can. Won't mind them. Still got that 32-point lead. Just thrown in over the head to the ruckman. Neither taps it. This time it's in the lap of White, but he can't go anywhere with it. Samalas picks it up and he's tackled well there by Armstrong. And here's Hallahan. He's claimed immediately. Monson picks it up and he's gang tackled as well. Going nowhere. It's going to see some pretty heavy legs after this one now that we've got so much rain coming down. No one wins the tap again. Hams is first to the footy. His hand pass goes to about the square, but it's taken well and put out on the left from Clark. Hams appeals for deliberate, but you won't see that here. So they've been desperate in defence all day, but they've been really good to start this term, Dalyston. Would hate to see an IK goal here. especially when they're so valuable in torrential rain. Boundary umpire just taking his time. As he'll resume play, it'll be Toussaint and Thomas once again. Toussaint wins the tap. No one can really gain possession. A lot of bodies in there trying to win the footy. This time it's Andy Samalas, able to get it on his left boot in the way of Marnie. Can he turn on his left? He can, but his kick goes nowhere. Murfitt sits under it. And it ended up going the 15, and he's paid the mark. Tries to appeal for the 50. Should probably just move it on. Does so. Runs up the line. Ball in the air, and it's just straight to Will Hamps.
So
He has been outstanding today. He does it all, this bloke. He's been playing out on the wing the first 2 weeks, but he's been put in the midfield by his brother today. It's punched away, falls to Jim Samalas. His shot goes into the pocket towards Wyatt. Does good enough to get it towards Thomas. Thomas picks it up, but he's claimed immediately and sat on by the defender. We'll have a throw in.
So, Inverloch Kongwak, pretty deep inside. They're forward 50 here. Lead still remains 32. No scores so far in this final term. So it was Clark who gave the handball that went over his own head. The ball still tumbling around in the wet. Eventually went over once again. And I can assure you this, stoppages will be no rarity in this final quarter. Even the wind has picked up a little bit now down here at Dalyston. So sock it off. Dalyston collect it. How's the speed off halfback? Good, but that's a great tackle on Duve. Hams plays on, launches one from 40 out, and that's another goal for Inverloch. They might have just sealed it. 38 points.
And what a man to do it. It's been a cut above today, Will Hams. Mentioned it before, whether it's run off halfback or clearances in the midfield. He's done it all. He's found plenty of space, and he just keeps on going. He's got an elite tank. And just like his brother, lethal left foot.
He's on an AFL list for a reason, wasn't he? Played.
Small in stature, but that doesn't matter.
Of course, played a couple of games with Essendon's side and was also a Box Hill Premiership Hawk.
And as you say, Baz, this just might have ticked over that insurmountable level of lead as the rain just keeps trickling down. Toussaint's taps again, won by Hams. He's going to be one tired bloke after this one. He's got mud all over him, and that just shows you that he's not scared at all to get his knees dirty and get his head over the footy. He's done it all day. Toussaint climbs high over Thomas, wins the tap. It's taken by Geordie Thomas for IK, and he gives it to Tom Hams. His left boot puts him inside 50. Jim Samalas tries to trap it. Goes nowhere with it, though. Here's Marotta trying to spin out of trouble. Claimed, though, holding the ball. Tried a bit too much there, Marotta. Not really the conditions for a bit of pizzazz, really. Nick Boltis has been a real excitement machine inside 50 for the Seagulls this season. Probably gone under the radar today with the games of the other recruits in Short and Hams, but it's been just as good this season. Comes in, opens the angle, kick on the way for 2 in a row. They've got it. Starting to flex their muscle here, the IK Seagulls. That's 2 in a row.
Just some around the ground stuff for other West Gippsland games. Phillip Island versus Bunyip, 112-0. So geez, Bunyip having a rough day out there. Kilcunna Bass 37. Garfield 23. Tooradin Dalmore 56. Curramborough 25. Warrigal Industrials 25. Kooyurup 13. And then for your AFL scores, Sydney only up against North by 9 points. And then the Doggies seem to be a fair bit in front of Adelaide, 57-23. As we come back here to the contest at Dalyston. Free kick paid. Going back to Inverloch. So McCourt Gave it off by hands, and he's run down. That's some great effort, great running there from, I think it was Clark. So then gave it off to Wallace. Now Murphy on the wing. Has to keep going here. Armstrong. Very tight across the boundary line. Kick doesn't really go anywhere though. Dropped by the Sea Eagle. I think it was Samalis in the end. Ball just tumbling around there. Of course, it'd be so slippery at the moment. And eventually a stoppage is called.
So you just mentioned those scores around the grounds. It's actually a massive game for IK. A bit of a danger game in terms of they sit a win clear on top of the table, and you mentioned the teams that will probably be chasing them, as Scott's kick is not a great one, trying to enter inside 50, and Alexander just goes off the deck backwards, but Hams has got it and he's won the free kick. Bit silly there from Doof. But the other contenders in terms of last year's grand finalists, Turin and Dalmore and Phillip Island, both had kicks towards Mahoney, can't grab it. Wyatt's kick off the ground. I've done well there, Dalyston. But West is claimed, he took his time, and that'll be holding the ball. So I've just been used to them cleaning up really well in this game, so I wasn't too bothered by that. But Fraser West just took a little bit too much time there, and Thomas ran him down, gives the handball to Hams, and he's got their third in a row. So I think he celebrated with no one there then. It was a bit weird, but either way, you really can't take that much time when you're around Geordie Thomas. He's an absolute tackling machine, and they love him at IK. A little bit of a brain fade there from Fraser West, but either way, IK have got their third in a row. But as I was saying, Phillip Island and Turin and Dalmore with relatively easy opponents today in the whole scheme of things, so that extra win that they sit clear on top of the ladder, IK was under fire. But this second half, as they did last week in the second half, they've really shown that they deserve to be there. It looks as though they'll stay that one win clear on top of the table, but not without a great fight from Dalyston. We were at the game last week, Baz, Inverloch and the Dusties, and it's fair to say that Dalyston have put up much more of a fight today than Warragul did last week.
Yes, certainly. The margin sits at 50 points at the moment, but that most definitely does not represent the effort that the Dalyston Footy Club have put on today. They've really brought it to Inverloch, who for most of the day really struggled, but seems like they're going to be able to get this one by a decent margin in the end. Duve fell over the top of himself. Thomas, crumbs, and then Hams just sent a rocket forward up to Cumming, who got a big bump from Clark. But have a look at Hams running for it like a madman. He's pushed off it though by Clark. He's still going to fight for possession of the footy. Hams eventually got it out, and the ball eventually finds its way home on the boundary line. 12-12-84, plays 5-4-34. Inverloch up by 50 points. Almost 13 minutes through this last term, in what has been terrible conditions for the fourth quarter, as Will Hams just sends it forward. Thomas smacked it on the boots, straight into the chest of a defender. And then off by hands, looking to exit outside defensive 50. Only just though, could very well still go back inside, but the Magpies just composed enough to get it out. In fact, they are. Ball still alive here, and Samalis, or sorry, rather Patterson, rolls it over the boundary line, Aiden.
So it's the crowd around us starting to find their voice now, trying to will their teams on. Another great day, as I mentioned, in the West Gippy League. Gotta love country footy. Here's McCorn and Thomas. Taps really roved really well from Murfitt, and he's kicked it down the throat of Louis Rankin. Didn't pay the mark though, dropped it to the deck, but now it's the hands of Scott either way. He's chased down from Smith, but he got the kick away. Only as far as Harris. Kick in the middle, Hallahan. Looks for the handball, thinks better of it. Now Monson running off the half back line. Now he's at half forward. Kick inside 50. found the chest of Wallace. And I think that just solidifies Brad Monson as easily, if not the second, the best player on the ground for Dalyston today. He just never stops providing for the black and white. So Hayden Wallace to cut the deficit to 44 points. Comes in, kick on the way. He's missed to the near side. Disappointing there. It was an awesome play from Dalyston. As we were saying, Baz, I wouldn't let this loss deter them at all. There's a lot of hope for them this season.
Yes.
I know I said it last week about Warrigal, but I do expect them to at least challenge for finals this year, Dalyston. They look very well improved from last year even, but even in this first few games after that tough loss in their opener to Kiwi up.
Well, against teams like that aren't as quality as Inverloch, like Nana Goon, I would suspect Dalyston would probably take it up to them pretty well. Both their forward lines are very lively. Warrigal, I'd expect Dalyston to probably beat at this stage. Even teams like Tooradin and Phillip Island, I reckon Dalyston would give a real good challenge to. So, you know, it definitely, I'm not overly concerned by this loss for Dalyston at all. Despite them, you know, facing weaker opponents and then losing this game, you know, there's a lot of good signs they've shown today.
It's and they've obviously beaten a fair few sides. Some are better than others, but most importantly, they got that win at Coral Inn last week, and that's another side that will be gunning for that 6th spot, the 5th spot. They obviously finished in the top 5 last season, so those sort of wins can really show the league that they're up for it, and they can take it up to teams in the mid-table, which is they'll be chuffed with, really.
Well, that's something obviously they weren't too successful in doing last year. They only had the 2 wins, Dalyston, against Currumborough, who, you know, were dreadful last year, and then the same thing with Garfield. So they only beat the 2 bottom. They were both bottom 2, weren't they? Garfield and Currumborough, and they faced losses against everyone else, and they were big losses as well. Like L to Phillip Island, 163 points. Another one to Phillip Island, 140. Tooradin by 120. Even their match up with Inverloch last time, it was 116 points. So to see progress like this against some quality sides, I know the scoreboard may make it seem like it looks like a blowout, but honestly, Dalyston have a bow. They've been a proud club today.
Obviously, finishing 10th last season, they'll definitely improve from there, no doubt about it. Ball scrapping about inside 50 for Dalyston. It's found the way of McCorn. Good enough to get past the defender and slap it on the left boot. Here's Thomas, can't take the mark. Squabbling about again on the boundary line, and eventually trickles over. So they'll make the trek up to Garfield next week, the Pies, and you'd think that that's another win. It's another game where they would be favourites, obviously beating them last season. Garfield fight themselves, but just not quite at the level at the moment. Should be a good contest, but that'll be a good game for them to get back on the board. Here's to Sont. This is Oscar, puts in the way of his brother Marcus. Decides to just tap it over the back. He's got runners. Wyatt and Marnie. Wyatt stops, picks it up, snap over his head. Great late defence there from Harris. Tremendous.
And just going back to the AFL scores, North Melbourne are up by 16 against Sydney. My goodness. That would be a disastrous result for Sydney if they were to lose that one. Nonetheless, here we are again. Dalyston going through the middle. Harris off by hands. It just slipped out of his teammates' grasp though. Eventually got it back through Davey. Duve couldn't get on the end of that handball. Should be high. Won't be called. Short. Got it off. Now the ball just rolling into open space on the wing. Has to just kick it off the deck. Found its way over to Hams though. Now running through the middle of the Sea Eagles. I think that was a bit of an accidental torp there, but we know the engine on Thomas, who finds an open Marnie who just couldn't take the mark. The ball slipped out coming. Tried to tap it along to a teammate. Went straight back to Dalyston, who exit outside defensive 50. And the ball might even go over the boundary line here. In fact, it won't. And they're now starting to move the ball with a bit of precision, Dalyston.
Fortunately, it's come undone just as you say that. Josh Williams has taken the intercept mark. He's been really good in his role. He's one of those players that isn't phased. He can come in, play his role. Doesn't matter if he played reserves the week before or not. It's always solid in that back pocket as Jim Samalas is smashed into by Bose. Crowd hates the call. But he's won the free kick just as Dalyston were going to pick it up and run down the other end. And he plays on and kicks it straight to Murfitt. So the crowd get a bit of a response there. They were happy with that as Wallace's kick goes up the line towards Hewitson. It's been kept out of this one. Rankin's kick off the ground finds Samalas and he can run. He'll get a block from Marnie. Taps it on the ground. Kicks on the way. It's there. Joe Samalas, a young star. Captain of the under-18 Interleague winning side last season. In his final under-18 year, obviously won the premiership, the Sea Eagles. Played a lot of the games in the seniors though, Joe. Got a lot of pace and heaps of skill as well, and you saw it right there. Can really light up a game, usually playing off the wing. He's playing at half forward at the moment, and he's got himself on the board with a goal. So 5-5-35 plays 13-13-91 now on the Totally Workwear scoreboard. Rain's started to ease, which is nice. As we've just gone over 20 and a quarter minutes in this final term. Sant taps to his brother Oscar. Couldn't get rid of it though. Now it comes back to Marcus and he gets it on the left boot in the way of Monson. This fella has been absolutely outstanding. Hasn't let anyone beat him today, but his kick's not great. It's into the middle. Had to try it, but it's cut off by Hams, who's probably been one of the only few players who's been better than Monson today. It's been better than everyone, Will Hams. Here's Williams again.
Even Tom Hams has had a day out as well. He's kicked a couple of majors up forward.
You mentioned it last week. They just like to... It's almost like they wax, like they're in the backyard, Tom and Will. Very formidable partnership. This ball goes up the line for Daly. Not quite marked there. Jim Samalas did well again. Gives it to Desant. Turns around his left boot. Puts IK back inside 50. It'll fall to the back. Wyatt claimed immediately by two pies. Great late pressure there from Dalyston once again. Battled really hard in defence as they're still scrapping for it. And he's called a push. A few laughs from the crowd there. A few shakes of the head, but McCawn, he was the first to put his head over it, and Clark got into his back, so he'll line up from about 20 metres out. Tough angle, but he's a left footer. Wouldn't put it past him. Clint McCawn opens the angle. Kick on the way. It's there and extends the lead even more. So 62 points now. Not too many celebrations there. I think they know what's coming.
I mean, you get the feeling that I know we've given Dalyston a bunch of praise today for their hard work, but I feel like they've let off the foot off the gas a little bit in the last couple of minutes. There's the goals that have gone through in the past 10 minutes or so are probably goals Inverloch wouldn't have got early on in the game. So I'd like to see a bit more of a stronger finish here from Dalyston, but
I think they've just eased off on that aggressive game plan that they were using.
Well, I mean,
you can see it.
I mean, with an aggressive style of gameplay, that's going to come with injuries as well. So I know you've got to be careful with that. Obviously, the players would know they're out of this one by now, but yeah, I'd still like to see a bit of persistence. Just because, you know, the percentage is also an important factor, and Dalyston, they're going to be a middle table sort of team this year, and when you're fighting for a spot in the top 6 in the last couple of rounds, percentage is going to be huge. So anyways, Hams sends it inside forward 50. Oh, geez, coming nearly took a really good one there, but it was just enough pressure from guys like Clark for Dalyston. Whistle blown, holding the ball. Jeez, that is piping hot, that is. Kicked forward, Thomas, or rather Marnie, was there, but the ball just went a little bit too fast to the left. And now another boundary throw-in presents. 24 minutes into this last quarter. 14-13, 97 plays 5-5-35 on your Totally Workwear scoreboard. As the ball is thrown back into play. McCorn tried something cheeky there out of the ruck, was unsuccessful. The bombing ball went out into the middle of the ground for Dalyston, just trying to scrounge any sort of effective disposal up. Should be holding the ball. Umpire's going to pay it. So Samalis, or sorry, rather,
Dorling.
Trying to say who it was. Yeah, Dorling, number 31.
He'll give it now to Jim Samalis. Just kicks up the line. He's found Crook. Crook's kick inside 50. He's got short. So what does Tate Short do here? Plays on, goes into the pocket. Not the best kick. Out on the full. So he started really, really well, Tate Short. He's just eased into the game though. Hasn't had too much of it in the second half. Still worthy of getting into the best players for the day, I reckon. Dangerous kick from the Pies there. Not sure why they used that option. They had ones wide, and that's a great tackle from Joe Samalis. He never stops. He's not bothered by the scoreboard. He wants another one. It's just adding insult to injury here for the Pies. As we mentioned, they were so good for so long, but they're just sort of taking their feet off the gas pedal in this final term. Understandably, be very exhausted, but as you mentioned, Baz, the percentage is massive and it can hurt you at the back end of the year if you just let teams really slam it home. So despite the call of a free beer if he misses, Joe Samalis puts it through. Doesn't listen to the crowd, probably smart. Celebrates the goal, he's second in this term. And the lead extends. So the Seagulls look like they're on their way to yet another win. It'll be 6 wins, no losses today. They'll sit a win clear atop the table for another week. And they'll host Korumburra next week.
With Korumburra, Kuirup, Bunyip, and then Coralina the next 4 games. That's definitely looking like 4-0. Maybe Coralina might give them a bit of trouble, but I'd probably suspect Inverloch still wins that contest.
Well, interestingly, last time Inverloch hosted Korumburra at home, it was a very close game for 3 quarters, and the Giants always seem to make it close. For great stretches of the game, they seem to match IK really well in recent seasons. Obviously, they end up getting blown out, as IK can do to you, but always a great contest, and the Giants definitely never put the cue in their rack, despite having a very, very young team. They're building themselves, so big test for them next week, travelling down to Inverloch. But
it was a big test for them this week.
It was.
Well, they're currently losing this one 83-25 at the Korumburra Showgrounds, but
so tough stretch for them, not so tough for IK, but I guess really everyone's just waiting for that massive matchup between the reigning premiers Turin and Dalmore and Inverloch Kongwak this season. It's much anticipated. We won't get it for about another month and a half, I don't think.
Yeah, round 11. And then they face off again in round 16. Round 11's at
But
Turin.
you mentioned that matchup with Coralina as well, another one which has got an awesome history dating back to 2017. They played in the league opener, really, and then they played off in the grand final. So that one's always close. Coralina came down and won after the siren several years ago. So that's another good one to look forward to as the Seagulls look to continue their undefeated run in 2023. Is Joe Samalis getting down and picking it up, scooping it out to his teammate. Now it's in the way of Cumming and Monson once again. Cumming wins possession, tried to turn around and take off, but he was out of bounds. Been an outstanding contest between the 2 left footers, Monson and Cumming. He's got all the ability in the air, on the ground, slick skill, lots of excitement. So we haven't been let down today. Seen some great footy, good contest. A lot of great players as well on both sides. So the ball comes out along the wing towards Dalyston's forward half. It's out of bounds once again.
So 29 and a half minutes in this final quarter. And Inverloch have been dominant in this last term in the wets. And they're going to be 6-0 shortly. But the Dalyston have one more scoring opportunity left. Perhaps they do.
This is Wallace. And the chest mark sliding on the ground as the rain starts to pour once again.
So Hayden Wallace seems to be about, I'd say maybe 50 metres out or so. And he can go for a set shot if he likes. Wind has calmed down a little bit here as the rain, as Aiden said, begins to come back. So Wallace walks in to make the scoreboard look a little bit better. The kick was just far too short. Intercepted at fullback.
O'Dawling it was. It's Jim Samalis back in the team this week. He's playing some good footy in the reserves. Tries to kick it the way of to Son, and that'll do it. So, IK prove once again they're a step above this season. And they win it 5-5-35, played 15-13, 103. The Seagulls, 68-point winners in the end after a gallant effort from Dalyston on their home deck. I wouldn't be too worried if I was the Magpies. They've shown great improvement, and I think they've got a real chance to contend this year, but the story's the Seagulls. Still unbeaten, 6 games in a row now. They're just some sort of unit. And once again, it was a full team effort. There was a standout player here and there, but it's just players on every line just do their job so well. And it doesn't take them long to blow the lead out and really put the teams to the sword, Baz.
No, it certainly doesn't. They've just been a step above all the competition this year. And they win this one 103-35. As we go to the post-game show, the votes. So one vote I'll be giving out to Brad Monson. He was in the losing side today, but geez, he just showed so much heart and so much courage, and was probably Dalyston's, not probably, in fact he was Dalyston's best day. Saved a lot of goals from going through with his effort.
Yeah, I'd love to give one to Brad. It was very tough, the one vote. There was contributions across the board from both teams. I'll give a mention to Braden Douve and Hallahan for the Pies. I think they were great on the inside. They definitely won that contest, certainly through the first 3 quarters. However, I just think Joe Samalis was just outstanding. He just provided IK so much run at the exact time they needed it throughout the first 3 quarters, and then he finished it off with 2 fourth-quarter goals. So he gets my one vote. He was a star. And so 2 votes for me. As I said during the call, he had a tremendous start. He was everywhere in defence, sets them up so well. He's been really a boom recruit for IK, and that's Tate Short.
Tate Short, okay. I was my 2 votes are going towards Will Hams, who played a bit more of a midfield role today. We saw a lot of him at half-back last week, but he was so damaging and really bulled through the contests on pretty much every occasion today. And my 3 votes are going towards the player coach, Tom Hams. He hit the scoreboard multiple times today, whilst also getting a fair amount of clearances and contested footy as well. I thought he was the pretty obvious 3 votes, but who did you choose, Aiden?
I've got Will Hams. As you mentioned, he just does it all. Usually, as last week we saw, he plays off the wing and usually just spreads and generates that switch kick and provides a lot of run, but today he went inside against some 2 absolute bulls in Douve and Hallahan, and he won out on a lot of occasions. He had countless clearances. He just got in and under, but at the same time he stretched his opponents with his awesome tank, and he was always there for the switch at the same time. So he really built in a huge game in all facets. Obviously finishing with in front of goal as well on the run, and he's just so dangerous, and he's definitely someone that opposing teams will be looking to stop when they come against the Seagulls as games wear on in this season. We've got a bit of women's action to finish the day here. in front of us as the rain started to fall again, and that'll coincide really nicely with Ladies' Day here at Dalyston. It's been a great day. We've had a lot of fun, and it was great to see the top two clash in both the football and the netball. So Inverloch Kongwak ended up winning both of those. They look like a really great force in season 2023. I can't wait to see where it ends up for them, as a massive crowd of people try and pack into their rooms. It's a great place to be. Despite the rain, they've had a great turnout and some great footy. So in the end it was IK winning by 68 points.
So
So 15-13 to 5-5. We've just got confirmation. We've got confirmation from the official scorer and club legend Robbie Mitchell. Thanks for that, Robbie. The Sea Eagles have made it 6-0. We'll see you next week. Thanks for having us.